Hi, this is Bill Hammond. Thank you for tuning in to my series on legal planning for the Alzheimer's patient. Today's question: can I care for my mother who has Alzheimer's, and can she pay me to care for her? Now, believe it or not, it's kind of a simple question you would think, but actually it's a fairly complicated legal question. The reason is because there's all kinds of ramifications. First of all, if you will go to our website and go to the Resource Center, you'll find all kinds of material on there on how to care for someone who has Alzheimer's. And while that will be an important resource for you, one of the things that I need to talk about today is how does the state treat all of this from a Medicaid perspective? In order to understand this, in order to know why it's a complicated question, I have to give you a little bit of Medicaid law. Now, prior to February 8, 2006, under the old rules, if someone made a gift, if they gave their assets away, there were penalties, but those penalties expired on a monthly basis. But on February 8, 2006, President Bush signed into law what's known as the Deficit Reduction Act, and that changed all the rules. Because under the Deficit Reduction Act, now if someone gives money away, they're creating penalty periods which can last up to 5 years. Now you might be sitting there thinking, but Bill, I was wondering if I can have my mother pay for me to care for her. Certainly that doesn't have anything to do with giving money away, but in reality it does, and here's why. Because the state says if you do not have a care contract in place, then anything that your mother or father, whomever, pays you is a gift. Let me say that again. The state's version is that if a parent pays a child to care for them, and if there's no valid care contract in place, the state says those payments are a gift. And as you just learned, any time your parents give money to you, you can create Medicaid penalties for up to 5 years. That's why it's so very important that you get good legal advice if you have a situation where your parent is going to pay you to care for them. So, how do you have to do this? Well, first of all, you have to have a care contract which meets the provisions of the laws in the state in which you live. So, once you've got that in place, then the care contract should spell out all of the types of things that you're going to do, all of the services that you're going to provide. The care contract also then needs to state how much the parent can pay you, and there are rules for this. They're very detailed, but as a rule of thumb, somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $10 to $15 an hour is probably in the ballpark, but you need to take that number with a little bit of a grain of salt, because sometimes it can be more, sometimes it can be less, believe it or not, even depending upon the county in which you live. So you need to get a care contract in place. You need to get good advice from someone who knows how to set this up. You need to look into such things as workers' compensation insurance. You need to make sure that everything is handled from a federal tax standpoint, because what's going on in these cases, if you think about it, is if you have a care contract, your parent is actually the employer, which makes you the employee. So you have to declare any income that's being paid on your taxes. We need to get the insurance in place and all those types of things. So the bottom line is that when the question is asked, can my mother pay for me to care for her? The answer is yes, but you need to jump through some serious legal hoops to make sure that it's set up just right. If you try to do this and don't set it up just right, then you risk having the state Medicaid agency down the road come back and say, in the event that your parent needs nursing home care, having them come back and saying, hey, even though you worked very hard for the money that you were given, you didn't set things up properly, therefore these are gifts, and therefore your parent will not be eligible for Medicaid for a good long period of time. So, the bottom line is you can do it. You really need to talk to an elder law attorney and make sure that they take you through the process, and so that you get it set up just the way it should be. Thank you very much.